Let's do this. Hey there, this is Brian Cummings with the Voice of E-Commerce. This is our broadcasting arm of the E-Commerce Business School. I'm the Director of Training and Development for the E-Commerce Business School. And this is the last of our 4-day grand opening. We're celebrating with a brand new free membership that you can take advantage of. Our goal through these interviews that we're doing is to display to you and the public that we are real people who have a go-giving community that supports and empowers each other. I'm thrilled that you're here and watching, and I please hope that you'll check out the free membership, your free membership at joinebs.com, joinebs.com. And with me today is Rich Ziegler. Rich has been a longtime member of this community, and as I posted in the notes, he is a contributor at heart. So I can't think of any finer example of one of our go-givers and caregivers in our community than Rich. He's tried and true and trusted. So thank you very much for being here, Rich. Appreciate you sharing today.
Well, that point about being there, one of my strengths in the Strengths Finders is connectedness. And that, I think, has really come through in the community. And it really is neat to see a lot of other members in the community and their strengths and how they kind of come together in quite a tapestry as we do this, because it's kind of as the tide rises, all ships rise. And it's really been a pleasure, and it's been a journey. And of course, we're just really getting started.
It is a tapestry, isn't it? We have members from all different walks of life, and they come together, and yet there's this one common spirit of wanting to grow a business and wanting to see each other be successful in, growing their business as well.
Yeah, that's really a big reward. Of being involved in the group is none of us is in a vacuum, and really it's really kind of all about being. I mean, we're in business for ourselves, but not by ourselves, and maybe that's a cliche, but really I think that is a strong point of the whole community.
Well, it's hard being by ourselves. You've done it, I think, at times. I started my e-commerce career by myself and without support. And it was a struggle, and there were many times I thought of giving up. And yet here in this community, I hear people still have challenges. I mean, it's common as business owners to have challenges, but this idea of giving up, it's like, oh, yeah, we have somebody to lean on and ask for support and help. And so many people in our community have been there, and they're so willing to, to give back.
Yeah, that really is the case.
Tell us how you heard about Ann Sieg in our community.
As I was kind of reflecting for our meeting here, it's easy to say, well, yeah, I kind of really jumped in at a higher level with Ann in 2016, but it really goes back to July of 2013. And I was actually listening to one of Ann's webinars that happened to be one about a pay-per-click YouTube advertising, and I'd actually recorded it and was listening to it as I was driving across the road, which I often do. And I remember the trip I was on. It was just an hour and a half away to pick up my boys at a scouting trip, but that really left an impression on me that, hey, there's something here, something special, more than just the techniques that were there. And so I was kind of drawn into the community at that point. And then I followed Ann. This was back when it was called the Daily Marketing Coach, and I was running another business. And of course, marketing is important in any business. And so, I kind of stayed tuned and was kind of on the fringes, I think, for quite a while. And then I think I upgraded to there's different tiers in Ann's programs, and where I got a little bit more help. I think it was a $50 a month program or something like that, and kind of followed Ann. And then that was about, I don't know, right in that area, Ann made a shift from blogging and attraction marketing to e-commerce, and that was back when DMC was part of the program, and there was a lot of things that were kind of in flux and developing. And I think that's probably about the time that the Shop Your Way to Wealth program came together, and the book Flipping Profit System came together, and these things were very intriguing to me, and so I was kind of drawn into it, kind of followed it, and really, I guess about maybe I think it was February when I really pulled the trigger and said, okay, I'm going to sign up for one of these live classes. And that was so strange to me, because you think, okay, this is an online community. This is an online venture. And yet I'm going to go travel cross country and see these people in person. And oh boy, that was the beginning of a big change, because that's, the high touch comes when you're able to be with people face to face, and something about eating meals together and visiting and kind of that relationship, because it really does comes down to the relationship and the connectedness. And so that's when I really kind of understood that this was the real deal. Ann's interest, Ann could take the business a whole lot of different direction and just sell a lot of courses, like I think a lot of other people online do, but her focus has been, she's kind of with us every step of the way, holding our hands and working together. And that's really kind of spawned in me a desire to give back. But anyway, so I guess, that's April of 2016 is when I really kind of jumped in with 2 feet. And that's when I really realized that, the training materials here were really going to help. I had another business that, and we'll maybe touch on that a little bit later, but that I was really struggling with. And I've always been connected to my brother Rondo, who's in Illinois. I've always done all of his IT work. I guess I've been involved with him since day one. I mean, when he started, he's in the business of selling trucks and trailers and snowplows, and has a bricks and mortar store, and 9 acres of equipment and about 20 employees. And so it's quite an operation, and there's just quite a lot of stresses that go into a business like that, managing employees and turnover and so forth. My background is computers and technology, and so I essentially the IT department. But anyway, in that April of, kind of get us back on track, because I am very ADD, so I do wander a lot. And in some ways that's a strength, in some ways that's a weakness. But I really realized that was something that was applying the principles that we had here in the e-commerce business school to Rondo's business, and taking it to another level online was just a key area for a tremendous amount of growth. And I guess, I've been involved in more and more things, whether it's the ASD show or
the trade show. Mm-hmm.
The trade show down in Las Vegas for sourcing things, or just a number of the different courses that I've been involved in. And we'll maybe touch on that later too. The leadership development has been very valuable to me. But anyway, so that's kind of how I got started. I guess it was a slow progression, and that's what's neat about Ann is the e-commerce school will take somebody at whatever level they're at and at whatever level of commitment they want to take it, whether they started at a lower level or a little bit more, and the school is here to help everybody achieve their goals, and that's what's really fascinating about it.
I remember a moment with you at the Unlimited Business Lifestyle Retreat in Colorado, in Estes Park, a year ago last summer, in which you were really struggling with a decision of which way to go. And
yes.
It seemed as though you gained some clarity there. How has that affected you?
That has been life-changing, because I essentially realized I guess this is another business cliche, right? You keep doing the same thing and expecting different results, and that really is the definition of insanity. And I was working in another business that really just did not have the market, I think is the issue that we were having. And, and maybe I was altruistic about the business because it was involving teaching technology to children and whatnot. And, so I really wanted it to work, and it was a neat thing, but I struggled, and maybe the writing was on the wall. It was a franchise business. And, when the other owners in the state of Utah pretty much backed out, that's kind of a clue, right? And so, it was with you, Brian, actually at that ultimate business retreat where, you didn't tell me anything directly. You just basically, it was a reflection. And that was a time where we could explore lots of things, not necessarily the techniques of how to sell something online, but basically looking at our strengths and what things that we have, what are our goals, where do we want to be? And that really is the first part of anything that we do. I think when you go into business is you have to really begin with the end in mind. Maybe that's another, I wouldn't say it's a cliche, but that's a very important principle. And so that was a big turning point. That retreat was just fabulous, and I'm looking forward to the next one coming up this next year.
I am too. It's going to be back in the same place. People come to us to learn skills, and they want to learn a new technique. They want to learn a new business model. And of course it requires skills to become good and adept at that. But what happened at that retreat for you and for many others was empowerment. And it's one thing to learn skills. It's another one to get clear about what your purpose is. And sometimes those adjustments, we have to make those adjustments and dig down deep within to make them. I could tell it was a really valuable retreat for you. I knew it was for others too. And that's one of the rewarding things about this community is having that opportunity to work with people on that level.
Yeah. There were definitely some aha moments. And then I started to make some new goals. And really that was the beginning of a lot of change and a lot of focus. Although this comes up quite regularly in our accountability reports as well with me, because my focus does get, squirrel.
Yeah.
And but that is important. And so I gained another focus, and that was in working with taking Rondo's business to another level online. And we've done a lot with the website and understanding our customer and what it is they're looking for, whether it's keywords or a lot of that. A lot of the principles that have taught in the school have been put in application. Of course, we're just getting started. There's lots more to do as we take that, because it's my vision to take the business. It's a bricks and mortar business, and maybe large unit sales are kind of hard because it's hard for somebody to buy a truck or a trailer, online across the country, although they do that. But the parts and accessories are becoming a fiercer and fiercer competitive business. And so that's the direction we're going. Anyway, so that's the new vision, is taking that business. The business that's online is I would say a 6-figure business now, 6 to almost maybe 7-figure, and taking that clearly into 7, maybe even 8-figure a year business in volume online. That's really the vision and the direction, and there's other businesses doing it, so we know it's possible. It's just a question of doing the right things and understanding our customer and reaching our customer.
And do you have a date for this goal?
Well, I'm looking at 2 to 3 years out, and my last report, I was thinking, oh my gosh, I need to, these long-term goals, the roadmap exercise that we do.
Yes.
Goals need to be SMART goals, and my gosh, you put me on the spot here. Specific, measurable. A is achievable. R is R&T. Oh my gosh. Relevant and timely.
Yes.
I think is what it is. Mm-hmm. And I should know that because I work with scouts, and that's what they teach in their leadership courses, SMART goals. So I need to do a little bit of work on that. And I guess that roadmap is something that always has to be worked on and updated and check and adjust, so that the end goal is always in focus, and anything that needs to be adjusted is adjusted. And then and you keep on track, just like an airplane is constantly adjusting its course to stay on course.
You've mentioned accountability reports a couple of times. Would you like to describe what those are?
Oh yeah, yeah. For those that maybe don't know about some of the more closer programs that Ann offers, it's very high touch, and she keeps, the accountability reports aren't, like basically it's an accountability of ourself to the community, to Ann and the other folks that are in, I guess what we might call an inner circle or an e-commerce master's program or something like that but the accountability is, when you work just by yourself, it's easy to not think so much about things. But when you tell somebody else you're going to do something, they're going to check up on you later and say, well, how's it going? You said you were going to go to let's say you're going to go to New York. They're going to say, well, how was your trip to New York? They're going to want to know how, and you said you were going to do $1 million. Well, how's that going? But the accountability goes much deeper than that, because we're sharing our goals, what we've accomplished in the previous week, what we plan to accomplish, what our struggles are. And, it's through that process that we help each other. And so on a weekly basis in this program, Ann will review our goals, and she shares her insights and ideas. And of course, nothing's binding. She's not telling us what to do. She's just giving us encouragement, suggestions, and maybe connecting to other resources in the community and so forth. And in tandem with that accountability is an accountability group, which is a set of peers that we get together and basically share our goals, share our struggles, do show and tell, strategize, run ideas by each other, and it's kind of a mastermind. And we become really close to the to each other in that group. In fact, one of my most memorable things is a road trip. You can see I like to do road trips, but that's also where I like to listen to a lot of things, because there's lots of content to take in. And so I did a road trip from, just to give you a little geography. I live in Utah, and Rondo is in Illinois, 1,400 miles away. And so I do a lot of my IT work remotely, but I go on site several times a year. And so I thought it'd be fun to go meet a couple of the folks in my accountability group. Now that's, maybe that's a little beyond the normal thing, what people would think, but they were on my way, so it worked out. And so I met Sharon Safford in St. Louis, and then drove across the southern route to, oh yeah, okay. There it is. Oh boy, this was fun. We drove across the country to Colorado Springs. I have a sister that lives in Colorado Springs, but Don Cleaver lives there as well. And so I got to spend, I don't know, maybe about an afternoon or a morning with each of them. And we worked on things and talked about things and just kind of hung out. And, that just cemented this relationship that we had, and is ongoing. And it was really fun. Yeah, that whole trip was quite the trip, because I think I wrapped into a trip to Minneapolis, then down to Rondo's, did some work, and then stopped at Sharon's, and then stopped at Don's. But that was definitely a highlight and a memorable experience, and we'll probably do that again. But it's just something about being together with people, that connectedness.
And how long have you been meeting with them?
I think we've been, I'm looking. We have a pinned post at the top. We have a private Facebook group where we basically, just like we're doing this interview now, we'll record our conversations and kind of archive them. And I think the pinned post that basically has the link to the Zoom meeting goes back to January of 2017. So that would put us on just about 2 years that Sharon, Don, and I have been together. And Christy Dugan has kind of joined into our group about 6 months ago, and we're a really, really tight-knit group. And look forward to seeing each other at the events as well.
So I noticed the members that you're talking about are among the most consistent in implementing and taking action. And is that a coincidence?
I think it's a lot more than a coincidence, because I think if you weren't consistent in taking action, then maybe you wouldn't be as strong in the groups. I mean, it goes both ways. There's other people in our group that it's always an open door to join us. But the four of us have been a pretty core group here for the last 6 or 8 months, and the three of us that I mentioned have been definitely strong for going on just about 2 years now. So yeah, I would say it's not a coincidence. It's one builds on the other. The consistency and the reinforcement and the encouragement and the suggestion and the brainstorming, all of that comes together, and that's just all part of the magic that's here. I mean, it's just something I don't think exists anywhere else on the internet.
So would you say it may be one of the most valuable components of the e-commerce masters program?
Oh yes, that
nice to hear.
Definitely, the connectedness, the being together in the groups, and we're each of our businesses is completely different. So, it's I think it's helpful for all of us because we're able to look as kind of an outsider in, even though we're familiar with each other's businesses quite a bit, right? Because we talk about it each week. But that support group is just, it can't be beat.
Rich, is there anything else you'd like to share with people that are watching this, considering the community?
I'm just looking at my notes, and we've talked about things, the fun things, the trip, the things that are going on, and there's just so much new thing. If anything, I might say that, and maybe I'm the one that's guilty of this more than anybody, is, there's a lot of material in Ann's community, and if anything, it's important to, at least this is me talking to myself, as I've kind of realized one of the things I need to work on is being focused. And so, my big focus here is taking Rondo to the next level. Now, Rondo doesn't deal in books and doesn't, deal in toys and doesn't deal in, printed shirts and things like that. All of which, e-commerce business school teaches about, and online arbitrage. Although arbitrage comes into play because there's so many different, buying and selling things from different sources always comes into play. But I think I've realized that my biggest thing is to stay really razor focused and really hone in on the goals and move forward. So maybe this is a statement of intent, right? Because this is going out on the public record. But definitely that's the direction that we want to head. Take that online business to the multi-million-dollar a year part of the business.
Well, there's about a half a dozen people watching right at this moment, so we can all hold you accountable. We heard you say it. You're going to remain razor focused on your Rondo trailer business.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm excited for the upcoming meetings here in January and our retreat that's coming up in the next year. And of course, we're always in touch multiple times a week.
Awesome. This has been a real pleasure chatting with you.
Too. Yeah,
Thank you very much, Rich.
All righty.
And I want to say to you out there that are listening, if this has appealed to you, if you've enjoyed what you've heard and you're interested in learning more, please check out our training program. And there is a free membership for you, along with some free training in there. And it's at joinebs.com. Join EBS. Thanks again, Rich. Bye, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.